Okay, welcome to Dynamite Delight. Guys, I gotta say this. This was a damn good show. It was. But I have to say the one glaring weakness of the show, and I'm gonna say it right now before I go any further, because I do not agree with them. Now, this is what it comes down to. Because you saw the format of this week's Dynamite compared to last week, where they had two groups, one set of heels, one set of faces, outside, out near the ring, and they cheered. They showed their interest. They showed their respect. And then they choose not to have them on this episode, and they have them in the back in a locker room, in a room where they could watch on a television. For me personally, I think they screwed up big time. They should have not done that because, as I said in my Raw review, if these guys and girls can be in semi-close quarters in the back and they're allowed to do that, why in the blue fuck do they need to be on a screen in the back when they could have easily came outside? Now, mind you, I can understand if they were ordered. Let's just say that they filmed these last week when it wasn't too bad, which it probably looks like it was. They did a couple of days of filming, and it is a possibility they had set this up ahead of time where in case something goes wrong and they can't have people to be on the outside, they only have a few people, they can do them in the back. That's understandable. If they did double filming where there was some in the back, some outside, then next week's Dynamite, if they have some on the outside, then that was hopefully a contingency plan just in case it could not have people out in the arena due to the fact that they could be ordered. Now, I will not chew them out for that. But I do say this. If they were allowed to film one episode of Dynamite and they filmed a back-to-back episode unless they were ordered that same day to stop and do it separately, if it wasn't, I do not agree. And I know this was long-winded, but I got to say that because this is just my point of view. If they were all together in the back, what is the damn difference? If you've already been screened and you're not sick, put them out on the seats and let them do their job and cheer. That's just how it is. Having them in the back, that makes no sense if they were not stopped. That's just me. You guys tell me below. Let's get to this show. Now, we did not have Taz. We did not have JR. Particularly, we can't have JR because he will get severely sick. He had to stay home. We did not have Excalibur. I'm taking a guess that Taz and Excalibur could not get out there. And JR had to stay home because it was too dangerous. So, in the opening, you got Kenny Omega and Cody. They were basically doing commentary. Eventually, Kenny had to go in the back, get ready. He got to get dressed. And then it was Cody who not only did his match, but then he had to do double duty. And after his match, he legitimately had to come straight to commentary and help Tony Schiavone, which I felt that was the wisest thing to do. If you could not do double work with somebody, that was fine. You had Brandy again, as you see her in my face. She did announcing again, which I have no problem. And I still say this when this entire situation blows over. Let her do. I know she doesn't want to do that anymore, but once in a while she could do it in special occasions because she's still not a bad ring announcer. Even if she wants to go in the ring, if you are working in the back in an executive position, once in a while you can do other jobs like announcing, like wrestling, like managing. And yeah, the wrestling isn't that good, and her managing, counting on the right story, it's got to be a good one, but still. Jimmy Havoc versus Cody is the opening match. And it was good to see Jimmy Havoc because, actuality, I've seen Jimmy Havoc. He was on Impact Wrestling a couple of times. He has been on Reality of Wrestling. I saw him a couple of times on Reality of Wrestling, like once or twice. A while ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, easily. I think it was like almost 2 years ago when I first saw Reality of Wrestling. I saw him there. And then I saw him in Impact Wrestling. And now I see him here in AEW. He should be on the main show instead of Dark. Because the guy has character. I like him. Just haven't heard how he talks much. Was it a good match? It was okay. It wasn't a bad match. In the end, I wasn't surprised Cody didn't lose. But I gotta say this, because there was no one on the outside, and you see in my face that they did the 2-in-1, it really kind of took me out of that match. But I will say the best thing they did was to make sure they didn't cut off any sound. They had live mics so everyone could be heard. And that truly helped. Now, next thing, you had the Darby Allin vid pack, which I did enjoy. It wasn't very long. He basically spoke about him getting the Dark Order and dealing with Kip Sabian. I'm fine with seeing more vid packs. I really believe they need to do more vid packs when it comes to Darby Allin. They need to do an interview of Darby Allin. I know if you've seen Chris Van Veen, he did an interview. He actually did one with him. And I might actually leave the connection below if you haven't seen it. I'm sure everyone has. But I think I can find where it is on YouTube. And maybe I'll leave it as a connection below so you can see it. When he talked about he had no money and pretty much was living in his car. It was quite interesting. But he really needs an interview by JR when things get better. The match was the second best match of the night for me personally. If the other match had not happened, this would have been the best match of the night. It was that good. And when you see Penelope Forbes, marry me. Yeah, I'm an old man about to turn 49. Yeah, I don't look too bad for my age, I think. Marry me. Ooh, she looked good. She helped out Sabian. It worked with her character to help him out. In the end, Allin wins. But you wonder where they're going to go with him. He needs more. Again, they need a mid-card title. This is the problem I see. They need a mid-card title for a Darby Allin. Really bad. Okay, the next match. Now, let me put it to you like this. When you see Jake Hager and his vid pack, it was good. It was damn good. Because it did help him. And in the end, when he goes up against the job, I believe his name was Adams, he somewhat destroyed him. Well, actually, he did destroy him. He did destroy him pretty well, but I think he might have got a little bit too much offense in. Once he put that chokehold on him, he was done, which was the wisest thing to do. As an MMA fighter, he has to wipe the person out. And especially going with his vid pack, it makes perfect sense. He has to destroy whoever he's with and use a chokehold that he's actually using in Bellator. No problem. It was fine. But then once you had the Moxley come out, because I had to think about this when it came to the paradigm shift, wiping out Jake Hager for a few seconds, but Hager really wasn't wiped out because he went and put the ankle lock. I believe I got that shot. If I don't, I'm sorry. But once you see Jake Hager put the ankle lock on, you can tell that it's going to take a lot to put him down. And him walking away was fine. And once it came to Cody, and I gotta say this, I'm sure not everyone's gonna like how Cody was doing commentary with Tony Schiavone because, well, I'm gonna say it like this. I like Tony. He's not bad. But he needs a color commentator. And you got someone who knows the business pretty well. Once he started talking about Watts, and I'm talking about Cody Rhodes, and he's talking about several other people that a lot of old school wrestlers would know. Like I said, I am not a big deep dive pro wrestling fan. I don't know absolutely everything. I know a good amount of things, but I don't know everything about Watts and about the other people that Cody had talked about. I'm not super deep into it, but I respect at least that he didn't mention it, because he's like 33, 34 years old, and he's really in depth when it comes to wrestling. He really knows his stuff to a certain extent. So it does give him some legitimacy on the mic, but I'm sure not everyone's going to like him. The Sleg Daddy thinks he's a dick. So he's not going to like him, but still, there you go. Now, here's something I felt was a little too long. And this is QT Marshall versus Brody Lee. And I had to put a long one on Lee, because I like the vid pack that happened before the match. It really looked good. It showed who he was. Now, the second vid pack afterward, that one was cool, about him sitting down, eating dinner, and the two guys that just joined are forced to sit there. I don't have a shot of it. I think I forgot. And they're forced to sit and wait for him to finish eating before they're even allowed to eat. And Brody Lee is in a suit. The other guys are in a suit. One of the guys tried to eat while Brody Lee's explaining himself. We are one. We can do whatever we want. We can have whatever we want. But then when one of the guys tried to eat, he says, "What are you doing? Get out. You don't have the right to eat until I eat." And he gets angry at him. But then the other guy sneezes, and I think I do have that shot. He kicks his ass out in an instant, saying, "What the hell you think you're doing? Get out." And of course, it's going along with what the situation is with the virus that's going around. And it works in this situation because they're taking elements of real life and they're adding it into a decent storyline where this guy, Brody Lee, the Exalted One, controls all. And comparing him to Bray Wyatt, let's do a little bit of a comparison here. Comparing Brody Lee to a Bray Wyatt, they are two different animals. Because when you look at Bray Wyatt, yes, he was amazing back in 2014 to 2017. Well, before he went to the John Cena hole. Between those times, he clearly was well built. He made sense. They booked him well. But comparing him to a Brody Lee, even in this short instant, he's a different monster when it comes to his cult. He wants to be the cult leader that is presentable, that is like a well-dressed wolf, compared to a Bray Wyatt, who is not a well-dressed wolf. He is just a plain wolf in your face. This is a well-dressed wolf that's going to convince you to be dinner. Where Bray Wyatt is the type of person that's going to make you dinner. Legitimately looks at you and he just says, "I'm going to eat you." This one is like the wolf in Red Riding Hood is the best thing. Where she's going to a mom and grandmother, and you got the wolf in the bed in grandmama's clothes, trying to convince you that I am grandma. That is Brody Lee. I like that. He's not going after you simply as a wolf. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And I like that. He's going to make you join and then do whatever he wants to eat you afterward. Let's move on to the best match of the night. And that is Kenny Omega versus Guevara for the AAA Mega Championship. And this is where I am so angry. I'm angry. I am legitimately angry. Not because the match was bad. It was the best match of the night. And I think this is one of the best matches I've seen in a while. Sammy Guevara, you could see the true potential of this 23-year-old. I believe he's 23. And then you see how good Kenny Omega is. And the respect that if you like high flying with high impact, these two are where it's at. For me, I like a well-balanced match where there's more wrestling, more aerial, and more psychology. I like it balanced. If it's all one move after another move after another move, depending on the story, I'm cool with it. I can go with it. But when it's like this, I didn't hate the match. I actually did enjoy it. Because this was a change-up. Because it was with a title. A title that has only been defended now 3 times. And the kicker is, it's not like the U.S. title when you had Rey Mysterio go up against the Cien Almos on, what was it, Raw, I believe? This is a title from another promotion. that's being allowed to be seen on this promotion, which is a different story. If you don't know AAA, you're not going to know the story. I don't know what happened with that AAA Mega Championship, so I don't know the prestige of it, but commentary did fill me in, saying the title's been around since 2007. It got started AAA there, and that did help fill in some of the blanks. Kenny having it since October, that helped fill in the blanks. So he's defended it twice now before this. That helped fill into some of the blanks, not all the blanks. But then it kills me that I wish that this title could be defended more on AEW. This is what I wish. I wish AEW would buy the rights from AAA for the Mega Championship. Or allow them, talk to AAA, talk to Conan, and say, hey, look, we need a title that has some prestige. Can you give us this title, or can you help us promote an Omega title or something like it in AAA that we can bring it over to us? If they need a legitimate title, get it from AAA. And if they cannot get the AAA title from AAA, ask AAA, who's a legitimate company that has been around way longer than them, to help promote a new title, and then let it be transferred over to AEW, because they need a damn mid-card title. I want them to have the Mega title, the Mega Championship, as a title, because it seems to make sense. It's got a lineage from another company that's been around for quite a long time. That's what I think is wise. And Kenny wins. It worked. Now here is the best. The promo of the year. That's what I'm using for the title. I don't care if anybody thinks I'm right or not. This is the promo of the year. You got the... I know I'm not... how can I say this? When you see Chris Jericho come out, you see there's still no one there, but at least he involves someone that is on stage. He takes the camera from the cameraman. He lets him sing his theme song, which at least makes up for what has happened. They have no one outside. So he's using one of the freaking camera hands to help him get this over, which I agree with. Then you could see him looking at all of the posters. And even though I didn't say this in the Guevara and Kenny Omega match, that also was pretty damn funny. And then you could see, well, I'll give it to you like this. Him putting this in perspective of the virus. He involved it. He involved the virus throughout this entire segment of this promo with Matt Hardy. Him putting over Matt Hardy. Him saying how long he's known Matt Hardy. Him saying that he cares about Matt Hardy. And then, it's in my face. It's Vanguard 1, before this even got started with him and Matt, which was the best promo I've heard in so long. Vanguard 1 was given his moment to shine. Asked to join the inner circle. And he didn't say a damn word. He stared at Chris doing the social distancing thing. And Chris sold this like a freaking champ, blaming him, saying you're a piece of shit, that you're nothing on social media, you're a piece of garbage, but I still respect you. Join the not the dark circle, join the inner circle. And he doesn't do it. He goes away, and he's being called a son of a bitch. You're calling a freaking Vanguard 1 drone a son of a bitch. I love Chris Jericho. He takes the most stupidest thing. He'll take shit and turn it into gold. That is gold. If no one liked this segment, it is so freaking funny. You need to reevaluate and calm your shit. Turn off the motor, turn off the mind, and just take it for what it is. He's working with a damn drone to make people interested. That is freaking dedication compared to the WWE. That is bullshit. Here, you got him finally getting Matt Hardy, and I didn't catch the segment, well, the little kind of fade bit where the Matt Hardy's coming down the steps, and they're doing like stop time motion animation, where Matt would go from one set of seats to another with his arms wide open, and he goes down to the seats, and then he gets into the ring, and Chris sells it, saying, how the hell did you do that? He said, yes, I am deleted. I am not like that, but you know what I mean. He pretty much sells the original Matt Hardy, the true broken goodness of Matt Hardy that developed on Impact Wrestling. This is Matt Hardy from Impact that we have not seen in almost nearly 2 to 3 years. They tried to do Woken goodness, which never worked because they wouldn't go all the way with it. They should have done the broken brilliance of Matt Hardy in WWE, and they shouldn't have tried to repackage of Woken. Broken would have worked, and they should have let Matt keep the rights to it because it would have given more cred, but they didn't go with it. Here, this is Impact Wrestling Matt Hardy. I loved it. I'm not going to explain all that was stated. There's no point in it. They basically were putting each other over. And what made this segment so good, and like I said earlier, when it came to Chris, he sold the situation. Yes, he said, I sent everybody away until I decide them to come back. But at least they addressed the situation. There's no one in the arena. Matt is trying to say there's someone right here, there's someone right there. And Chris is saying, no, there's no one here. Why are you doing this? He said, it is not because there's no one here. The essence of people are here. You got the George Washington and the Abe Lincoln. You have the I Have a Dream of the Martin Luther King. They are here in essence. This was the best promo of the year. I think it's better than the promos from last year. You know why? Because it helps us to accept the situation. It helps us to accept that we're in a situation where there's a virus that's screwing everything up. It is screwing people's lives up. It is screwing governments up. It is screwing the internet up. I just tried to pay my not my rent, but my Con Ed bill today. The minute that I went to a Right Check, they are open in New York, the machine wasn't working. The internet was down. Flat out. Even the internet cannot handle the situation. People right now are on the internet so much. Bandwidth is completely screwed up. Unless you got big bandwidth with big money, your internet's choppy right now. But seeing this helps to make it mean something. This meant something. I loved this. And in the end, what happens? Matt gets smacked in the face. Chris gets punched in the face. Guevara comes out to try and wipe out the Matt Hardy. And then the Elite comes down to save Matt. And then Matt controls the fire of the stage of the AEW Delete. I know I could go with... I got to. Look, I truly did love it. It was a simple, goofy, corny bit with Chris Jericho saying, what do you want? Do you join the Elite or you want to join the Inner Circle? And Matt saying, Delete instead of Elite. And they're going back and forth. It was fun. And even though, and I state this again, even though I'm not happy that if the government, if the state did not order Tony Khan to separate everyone as much as possible and not be out near the ring, if they weren't allowed, if Tony Khan was ordered not to do that, I understand. But if they weren't told that and they did that and maybe they filmed some extra stuff in the back as well, I don't agree with it. But we don't know. But I can tell you this show is going to destroy, I'm sure, even if, I'm saying this clearly, this is actually going pretty long, but even if you have, I don't want to chew out NXT, but after what happened last week where they just showed interviews and then video packages and that's it, I don't agree with that. They should have people in the Performance Center. But if they do have people in the Performance Center right now, I think this show destroys it. And I think it's going to destroy SmackDown as well. This one show, even with the changes of having them in the back on camera, was still going to be a damn better show than what we have that's going to be coming also tonight and Friday. But this is just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.